Okay, so I normally wouldn't come on here and bash any of my exes. If we go through a breakup, I'm not going to badmouth them or anything. However, this is a story that needs to be told. It needs to be out in the open so people are aware that these things happen, and you don't think it's going to happen until it happens to you. So it is time for me to break my silence and tell you guys my story. So back in May, I met a guy on here on TikTok. Things were great. We were FaceTiming. I was flying out to see him in Texas. We were just like, we really caught a good vibe and we were rocking and rolling. Next thing leads to another, and he's wanting me to move out there. So after 3 months of knowing this guy, I decide I'm going to pack up everything and move out there because for some reason I wanted to get out of this town, and this was like a way out for me, and I thought it would be fun. I loved this guy, and what could go wrong? So before deciding that I'm going to go out to Texas, I chose to investigate this guy and, kind of make sure he's a good guy to move out there with because I'm moving 13 hours away. So as a realtor, we have a forewarn app, which is where you can look up any stranger you're about to show a house to or anything like that, and it shows you their criminal background record, all of that stuff, so that you remain safe. So I look him up on my forewarn app. His slate is clean. Everything on there is perfect. There's no charges. He seems to be a great guy on paper. So therefore, I decide, okay, I'm going to move out to Texas with him. So on June 24th, we moved out to Texas. On June 29th, on my birthday, I get a text from my mom, and this is a screenshot of his mugshot. Now, it's a charge for harassment. When I asked him about it, he basically chalked it up to misunderstanding, nothing should have happened, whatever. So me, I have no reason not to trust this man, so okay, I'm gonna go with it. Little did I know. So a month of me being out there, everything was fine up until the last of it. But we were traveling, we were doing things together, we were playing house and everything. It was great while it lasted. Now he was starting to get a little bit controlling, saying things like I couldn't wear certain bikinis, I couldn't drink when I wanted to, I couldn't watch The Bachelor or any TV show that I love to watch. I was not allowed to do these things. So red flags in my head are going off. I'm already kind of weary that he's starting to be controlling, and I don't like that. So now we get into the story. August 1st, we had a river trip planned to New Braunfels with his brother, his brother's girlfriend, a big group of people. We were all going to go rent a cabin, go tubing down the river, go to a concert that Saturday night, just spend a whole weekend away and doing fun things. So on August 1st, we get to the cabin. We're settling in, everything's good. I get a phone call from my best friend who I haven't spoke to in a month because we've both been moving and traveling and just haven't had time to talk to each other. So she calls me, so I answer. We're on the phone for probably 30 minutes or so until he pokes his head into the cabin and he tells me, hey, I'm about to hop in the shower. Well, my friend on the phone thought that he said, hurry up and get off the phone. Well, he heard that and was like, I didn't say that, but if I did, you're going to get the fuck off the phone. And at this point, I flip. I'm like, oh, we are not going down this road. You're not about to control me, all of this stuff. So to kind of lay the scene out for you guys, there's 3 parts to this cabin. There's a cabin here, and then a big main cabin in the middle. Our shower, we're in this one over here. We have this one all to ourselves. Our shower is outside. It's like an outhouse. So at this point, he goes out to the bathroom to shower. So I follow him in there, and he's in the shower still arguing, and I'm still yelling at him for trying to control me. So he tells me to get the F out of there. I'm not allowed to shower. So I go back into our room in the cabin, and I'm sitting on the bed. When he comes in, he starts basically yelling, and he's like, you're not welcome here. I paid for this place. Get out. Well, I remain sitting on the couch, or on the bed, I'm sorry. So he comes up to me, picks me up, and starts charging at the door with me. So at this point, he has me pinned against the door. I literally have my hand on his throat, pushing him away from me. Now there's an argument that he has just put his hands on me. So I try to grab my phone and call someone who is inside to try to help me. As soon as I pick up my phone, he yanks it out of my hands I have scratches on my hands from him taking the phone from me. He shuts it off. So I run over to the window to try to bang on it and get anyone to hear me that's outside, but they all have music playing. They can't hear. No one hears me. At this point, he comes over and yanks me away from the window, and he's so close to me that I literally just like raise my knee up to barely graze his balls because like, just a warning, like back up or, you know, I'll do this. Well, that pisses him off, and he yanks me, throws me on the ground. I had like my whole left side of the face hit the ground. And at this point, like, I guess he realized, oh my God, like I messed up. So he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't live with myself that I just put my hands on you. This is not right, blah, blah. So we talk through all of it and come to the conclusion, we just go to sleep and we're going to try to have a good rest of the weekend. So Friday, August 2nd, we had plans to go tube the river and that night go to dinner. So we go out 4 hours tubing on the river. He's been drinking, I've been drinking, we're both tipsy. And we get home, I start showering to get ready for dinner. Well, next thing I know, he comes in the shower holding my phone. Now, I had deleted Snapchat and everything before moving out there. He had got onto my phone and re-downloaded Snapchat. So he walks in the shower and he's showing me a text message that I had sent to somebody on Snapchat probably a year ago. And he's like, what the fuck is this? You're a whore. And he grabs my throat and throws me into the shower. At this point, I don't want to be locked into the cabin again. I don't know what he's capable of. I don't know what he's about to do, but he seems pissed off. Well, he hops in his truck and leaves. So at this point, I hop out of the shower, I throw my bikini back on, and I run into the main cabin to tell everyone to try to find someone to help me. So I start showing them the bruises I had on my arms. I had a big bruise on my neck from him throwing me on the ground the night before, and showed them the scratches. And so I'm telling everybody what happened. I'm asking them for help. And meanwhile, he's gone in his truck somewhere. So when I go back into the cabin to show everyone what he's done, these girls look at me and they tell me that I'm not the first girl this has happened to. They start telling me all these stories and everything. At this point, he comes back up the driveway. So his brother and all of the guys there go outside and try to calm him down and figure out what's going on. So at this point, he's mad that they're all talking to him and he leaves again. So then I start looking for my phone because he had it last. Obviously, he showed me in the shower my messages. So he had it last. I'm looking for my phone because he wants me to leave. And so we're all saying, okay, well, she will leave if she can find her phone so she could get an Uber. So I'm looking for my phone. I can't find it anywhere. I start reaching out to my mom, to two of the girls I know that have my location on my phone. I DM'd them off of a girl that was in the cabin with me. I DM'd them off of her Instagram. So I finally get my mom on the phone and asked her to track my location. And at this point, it's coming up as no location found because the location has been turned off. So at this point, his brother calls him and he's like, hey, where is her phone? She needs it so she could get up and she could leave and go do whatever she needs to do. And he claims he left it on our nightstand in our cabin. So all of us go out to the cabin. We're tearing the cabin apart trying to find my phone. We can't find it anywhere. At this point, the location is turned off. We know he has my phone. So then he comes back up into the driveway, goes in there and packs all my stuff, brings it into the main cabin and is telling me to leave. So we continue to tell him I can't go anywhere if I don't have my phone. Well, he doesn't want to ruin everyone's weekend. So he tells everyone, hey guys, y'all just go to dinner. I'll stay here with Brittney and help her look for her phone. Because we don't want to ruin your guys' weekend. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here telling everybody, I do not want to be alone with this man after what he did to me the night before. So they come to the conclusion, okay, well, we'll just go to dinner. We'll take him with us. And Brittney, you stay here at the cabin by yourself. So now I don't get dinner. And now I have to be at a cabin in the middle of nowhere by myself with no phone. So they go to dinner. He drives separately to dinner. And so I'm just sitting out on the porch by myself staring at the sky because there's no TV, there's nothing to do there. Until next thing I know, I hear a truck coming up the driveway. So he comes up. He had apparently drove to the restaurant, got there, turned around and came back. So now it's me and him alone at this cabin. So he comes up the stairs, still cussing me out, still telling me that I'm a whore and all of this stuff. He then tells me that we're going to leave the cabin and drive 4 hours back to Lumberton, Texas. And I reply by saying, we have been drinking all day. I don't want to go anywhere with you after you've been so drunk. I don't feel comfortable driving in the car with you, trying to plead my case. And he's like basically just saying, you will come with me and all this stuff. So he forces me to pack my bags up really fast and get into the truck with him. It's 11 o'clock at night and we are having to drive 4 hours back to Lumberton. So we start going down the road and he's speeding, everything. He's still cussing me out. And I look at him and I say, I would never say the things that you're saying to me to the person that I love. And I was like, I could say a lot of things about you, but I don't. And at this point, that makes him mad. And he grabs the gun that's beside him in the truck. And he holds it to my leg and he says, oh yeah? What would you say then? What would you effing say, Brittney? So I don't know what was going through my mind, but I just remained silent. And it kind of just shocked me. It blew my mind that this man now has a gun to my leg. He's been drinking all day. Now we're driving. And it just wasn't a good situation. So I remained quiet. Well, then he comes to reality and he realizes, oh, I just held a gun against your leg. So now he feels bad that he did this to me. So he pulls over in Buc-ee's and asks me if I needed water, if I need to go to the bathroom. So I go in and get a water, come back out, and he has the door locked with the gun sitting between his legs. So I'm knocking on the window. I finally get into the truck and I realize, he still has the gun. And he's like, I can't live with myself. I just held this gun to you. Like, I've already put my hands on you. I'm a terrible person. And he was like, I just want to end it all. So now he's saying he's going to kill himself in the driver's seat. So I have to talk him down and I tell him, how about you let me drive the rest of the way home and you calm down. So that's what happened. We get back to our house at 5 a.m. and we go to sleep. Now I wake up the next morning and I still don't have my phone at this point. So I find my MacBook computer and I log on to it because I'm like, okay, maybe I've really lost my phone. I was drunk. Maybe I left it somewhere. I don't know. So I keep my debit card in the back of my phone. So I was like, if I did leave it somewhere, maybe I should turn that off, lock all that stuff. So I log on to my First Citizens and I lock my bank account. But when I pull that up, I see that it says a Venmo. I Venmo'd him $500, which I know I didn't do. So now I'm starting to get suspicious. I'm like, okay, well, he just did that. He just gave himself my money. So then I go to find my iPhone on my MacBook and it shows my phone is in his truck right outside. So at this point, I'm still looking to see what else he might have done on my phone. I pull up my messages and I see that he had been texting his ex-fiance, acting as me. He was sitting there basically, like, from what I gathered from it, it sounded like he was asking her for a threesome, and it was just a weird situation. So at this point, he comes walking into the living room and I look at him and I was like, why did you Venmo yourself $500? And he was like, oh, I was just trying to be a dick. And so he sent that money back to me. But then I was like, why did you message your ex-fiance acting as me? And he said that he was trying to embarrass me. So then I tell him, okay, well, it shows my phone is in your truck. So can we go out there and look for it? So we both go outside. This is like morning lunchtime. We go outside and we start tearing his truck apart, trying to find my phone. Couldn't find it anywhere. Imagine that. So we go back inside, watch a little bit of TV. We finally have like a conversation about what all just happened. And now this man is a manipulator, master with words. So he's like, I'm so sorry. We were talking about the Bible. We were talking about like how we both wanted to change and all this stuff. So we are finally back on good terms. And it's like now 5:30 in the evening. And he looks at me and was like, so do you want your phone back? So I was like, yeah, I would really like my phone back. Meanwhile, during this time, I didn't have my phone. My friends were all calling me, texting me, trying to figure out what was going on because I had just asked them to try to track my location and it had been turned off. So they're all worried about me. My mom's still worried about me. And he was like getting mad. He was like, how many people do you have involved with this? He was like, you already ran into the cabin and told everybody what was going on. You're getting all these people involved and it has to stop. So I told him, I was like, well, let me go outside and get my phone out of your truck and I can call everybody back and let them know that I'm okay. So at this point I go, he tells me where his little secret hiding place is in the truck. So he has a Carhartt seat cover And underneath that seat cover in the back of his seat, he had turned my phone off and slid it behind there. So I go turn my phone back on and I start calling my friends who had been worried about me. So my first friend I call, she tells me, she was like, Brittney, somebody was on your Snapchat last night and I know it wasn't you. And she was like, they were asking me for nudes, but they were acting as you. So then she sends me the screenshots and I see where he had texted and said, hey, his name has been watching porn and I would rather him watch somebody I know than someone I don't know. Would you send me your nudes? And so clearly this isn't me. So she texted my phone at this point, which was the night before, texted my phone and said, hey, are you Snapchatting me? And he replied, yes. So he's still impersonating me. So at this point, like, he's right inside the door and I tell her on the phone, I was like, listen, I'll go in and talk to him and try to figure this out, whatever. So I go inside and I show him the screenshots and I was like, what is this? And I was like, so you also asked my friend for nudes off my phone? And he was like, oh no, I had your Snapchat and I did change the password, but I changed it to an easy password. So it was probably a hacker got in there and hacked your phone. So I told him, so this hacker hacked into my Snapchat and my phone number, because I was like, my friend just texted both my Snapchat and my phone number, in which you replied to. So he gets pissed off because now he's caught. So he was like, get the F off my property, you're not welcome here any longer. So I grabbed my laptop and my phone and I start walking up the road. And I didn't know who to call because at this point his parents are in Singapore. Everybody we were with at the cabin is still at the cabin 4 hours away. His sister's in Singapore with them, so the only person I had to call was his brother and sister-in-law. So I start walking up the road and I call them. And I ask them to come pick me up because I don't know what he's about to do and I'm scared. And they just had a newborn baby. So clearly they're like, Brittney, we don't want to come get you and bring you to our house and like risk him showing up here with guns or anything like that. Like, we're not about to put our family in that situation. So they were like, just stay on the phone. We'll call the cops for you. At this point, I'm still walking up the road and he hops in his truck and comes up beside me. I'm still on the phone with him. So he's yelling at me to get in the truck. And I replied, no, I'm not getting in the truck with you. And he pulls his gun out again and was like, get in the truck. And I said, no, you have a gun. I'm not getting in the truck, so that the people on the phone know that he has a gun. He realizes I'm not going to get into the truck. So he hops out of his truck, comes over to me, rips my phone out of my hand, and picks me up and throws me inside of our house. So the police chief calls him and says, hey, I just got this phone call. Is everything okay? And he replies, oh yeah, everything's fine. She's packing up her stuff now. She'll be leaving. Everything's good. Hangs up the phone. Nobody ever comes. No police ever comes to check on us. Nothing. So at this point, he's had about enough of it. And he looks at me and was like, let's get this over with. Picks me up and takes me into the bedroom. And all of these thoughts are going through my mind. I don't know what's about to happen. But he throws me on the bed and he grabs a pillow and he smothers me 3 separate times. And by the 3rd time, I was kind of just over it. And I kicked him off of me, which he then went flying up and hit the bed frame on the bed with his shin. And he got so mad that he got hurt that he charged after me, grabbed my throat, and started strangling me. And everything started going black. I literally thought, this is it. This is where I die. And I don't know what happened, but right when I was about to kick the bucket, he stopped and he got off of me and literally flipped personalities. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Just breathe, breathe. He was like, you know, I would never do anything to hurt you, all of this stuff. And it was just manipulation. I realized that because we packed up in a hurry to leave the cabin, I had left my purse with my keys in it. So that's still 4 hours away. I start realizing I don't have a way to get away. And his brother and everyone won't be back until tomorrow, the next day. And they were bringing all of our stuff we had left there back. So in my head, I'm thinking, I don't have a way out right now. And he's sitting here saying he's sorry and trying to manipulate me. So I start playing into his little manipulation. And I was like, okay, if you'll never do it again, I'll stay, all of this stuff. So it comes nighttime. We sleep on the couch outside because I can't sleep in the bedroom where he just tried to kill me. So we slept on the couch. The next day rolls around and we're just trying to live it normally. I'm still trying to play into all of this and make him think I'm okay. So I told him I was going to stay. Well, his brother and the family didn't get back until that night with my keys. And at this point, I have to drive 13 hours back to South Carolina. So I don't want to leave in the middle of the night and be driving sleepy at that time. So I have to wait one more night. And the next morning we wake up and he's thinking everything is good. It's back to normal, all of that stuff. So he's supposed to go to work and I tell him I'm going to go over to the other house, wash the dogs and bring them back, go to the grocery store, cook dinner, normal day. Well, as soon as I get in the car to head over to the other house, I call my friend back and she just gets on the phone and she was like, Brittney, tell me right now that you're okay. And when she said that, I broke down and I was like, I have so much I need to tell you. Like, I'm not okay. And I told her the story and she was like, get out of there right now. She was like, this is your first time you're away from him. Run, book it home. And I'm crying and she's crying. So she calls my mom, three-ways us, and my mom's freaking out. I'm scared to death. I just start gunning it down the road all the way back to South Carolina. And I'll leave everything behind. Everything I owned is still at his house to this day. I came home with nothing but the clothes I was wearing and my purse. So meanwhile, I don't know how much time I have to get down the road before he realizes that I've left. So I'm going 94 down the highway. I'm about probably 45 minutes to an hour out of Lumberton. I'm now in Louisiana. A cop pulls me over. So I tell the cop what's going on and I know that he's probably going to be behind me in any second. So I'm telling this cop I'm running for my life and I try to tell him the whole situation. And he just looks at me, writes me my ticket, gives it back to me and was like, drive safe. So no help from him, no, hey, I'll bring you to the police station, you stay here, you're safe, nothing. Drive safe. So I keep gunning it. Well, about that time, my phone shuts off and it's reported lost and the only number popping up to call is his number. So when this happens, I lose the phone call with my mom and my friend. I lose my directions. I can only call him. So I call him and he's sitting here telling me that I'm a coward for leaving when things got tough, all this stuff, and how much of a piece of shit I am. So he's already saying, if you don't think I'm right behind you, you're ridiculous. So he was like, I'll meet you in South Carolina. He said, you better have everybody ready and whatever happens when I get there is on you. So my mom and my friend are trying to still call me. So I tell them, I'm like, hold on, let me answer this phone call. I'll call you back. I get on the phone with them and they're like, Brittney, call the next police station, tell them he is behind you and see if you can stay there and we will come pick you up. So I'm in Alabama at this point and I call the next police station 13 minutes up the road and I tell them the situation. I tell them I'm running from him who he is chasing me right now. Well, the lady on the phone says, honey, we close at 5. You can't stay here and your parents are going to have to drive a long way, so you can't stay here. So another cop that wouldn't help. So I then decide, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to gun it all the way home and whatever. So I call him back. And at this point, I'm trying to just talk him down because I have to get gas. I have to stop and I don't want him to catch up to me because Lord knows what would happen. So I get on the phone and I'm like, listen, I just need to go home for a couple of days, clear my head, and then I'll be back. And trying to manipulate him a little bit since we're playing these games. So he was like, oh, well, if I would have known you're coming back, I wouldn't be following you. So at this point, I finally get him to turn around. He goes home, but I finally get back to South Carolina that night. My stepdad had met me in Atlanta and kind of escorted me the rest of the way home. So I get home and sleep and think everything's fine. The next day, I start getting Google alerts on my phone, and it's saying that someone has logged into my Gmail and all of this stuff. So I'm starting to realize this man has hacked into my stuff. Because when he stole my phone for that entire day, he not only did everything he did on my phone, but he screenshotted all of my username and passwords and sent them to himself. So now he's got access to everything of mine. So I go in and I try to change my email passwords and all that stuff. And somehow he just hacked into it and changed it back. He set up a recovery email for his email address. So at this point, I had no way of getting into my emails. He was changing my Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. He changed all of those passwords. And if I wanted to try to change them, it would send an email to that email, the old email I had that he had access to. So I couldn't change anything. So then I was able to have someone come over here who's like kind of tech savvy, and we created all of these burner fake emails and stuff, and was able to go into my Instagram and Facebook and hack that stuff back and switch it to a new email and change the passwords and all of that stuff. Meanwhile, like, it pops up where you've been logged in at, and it would keep saying logged in Lumberton, Texas, like an hour ago. So like, I know he was logging into all of my things out there, and Lord knows what he was doing on there. I was able to get my Facebook and my personal Instagram back. Snapchat and my real estate Instagram, he still has. I've reached out to Snapchat and told him the situation, and Snapchat basically was just like, we're no further communicating with you. So I got blown off, and now he's on my Snapchat. I have my friends watching it. We see the numbers going up. We know that he's texting whoever he wants to text on there, acting as me. Not only my social medias and stuff like that he was able to get into, but I left everything out there. So I left my social security card, my birth certificate. My new driver's license was delivered to his house. So now all I have is a paper temporary driver's license that no one accepts. Not only did this man lay hands on me, try to murder me, and hacked into all of my accounts and stuff like that, but I received a message from his ex-fiance, who I had reached out to try to get some information from and just ask her, like, hey, is this who he was with you, or was this just me? And the messages I received from her is scary. So I first of all apologized to her for him acting as me, and Snapchatting her or texting her or whatever, acting as me. And she replied with, he was not only messaging her as me, he was sending her my pictures of me to her. He was calling her throughout the entire relationship, which was only 4 months, but was calling her, asking her to come over and like have sex with him and everything. And she proceeds to tell me like 3 different incidents from his ex-girlfriends that he has done to them. And this entitles like stealing their phone while they're asleep, creating Hinge, Tinder, Bumble accounts as them, using their nudes to message other girls and say, hey, I'll trade you my nudes for your nudes. And he was doing that with them. He had broken into an ex's house before, put a gun to his head before. So like, it's nothing new. But a lot of these girls have tried to go through with charges against him, which fell through because his family is so known. He would lawyer up and get these charges dropped. So it's kind of just, this is who he is, and his family isn't helping him get the mental help he needs. And it's just scary because people like this are out there and they're predators. I mean, he literally preyed on me to get me out there alone, isolated from my family. I'm 13 hours away. I had no one to help me. Not even the cops clearly didn't help me while I was out there. So I think my main purpose of coming on here is to be a voice for the girls he's already done this to speak up for myself and stand my ground, and just try to like spread that awareness, because we do live in a day and age where we meet a lot of people on social media, online. And my main thing is, while there are some good relationships online, people do fall in love, whatever, do your research, because I tried to do my research. I didn't go further to Google him because I thought that app was real. So do your research, because that charge he had, it was dropped. But if you Google his name, it's the first thing that comes up. So Google is your best friend. This is another scary thing. I'm going to add this in really fast. Because he had access to my emails, he was able to go back on my timeline and see like everything I'd looked up in the past, all the places I've traveled to, like different routes and stuff like that. They're able to see all of that. So my main piece of advice here is never let anybody know your freaking email password, because they can then hack everything you own. But yeah, so sorry this was a long story, but I did feel like it needed to be out there so that before he preys on his next victim. And with It Ends With Us coming out this month, it kind of just fell into the same timeline, and I wanted to get my story out there and let you guys know, like, you're not alone, because the amount of people I've already talked to about this, I've probably had 7 people tell me that they've been through the exact same thing. So it happens more than it should. So with me telling my story, as of right now, all of my things are still out in Texas, and he claims the only way I can get them back is if I come out there alone, which clearly is not going to happen. But that, and he still will not give me my passwords back to all of my accounts or stuff like that. I was able to create new email accounts and, like I said, get some of my social medias back, but the rest of the stuff is still in his hands. So if any of you guys have been through anything like this and know a different route to take, please reach out to me and kind of help me through the situation. Shout out to all of my friends and family who was there for me. When I was out there and he stole my phone, I didn't have to say a word to any of my friends. They have my location. As soon as it got shut off, they knew something was wrong. When they called me, I didn't have to say anything on the phone to them. They literally knew just by my voice that something was off. And I will forever be grateful for them. I have friends now who are trying to help me, like, because I have nothing. I don't even have my social security card to, like, get a job here or anything like that. I have friends who are allowing me to, you know, work for them and help out where I can to earn a little bit of money and stuff like that. So I am just so thankful that I do have a good group of people here, a good support team and everything like that. So thank you guys.